Okay, I'm still gonna start. Okay, so we're gonna find a public API. We're gonna write stories. Those two things aren't really gonna be the emphasis. I just want you guys to see them. So you are gonna be finding public APIs whenever you try and build your own apps. Writing stories is something you're gonna start getting into when you start building your own projects and stuff, and it's something that's cool to be familiar with. But the big things we're gonna focus on making the React app, building the components, and using stories to guide our workflow. And then we'll deploy it on Surge, which is really pretty simple. It's not that hard of a thing to do. Okay, cool. So first let's start looking for an API. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a minute or two. Just Google public APIs. This repo will probably come up. It's Todd Moto public APIs. Look through it, find like one or two that you think we can build an app off of, and then we'll brainstorm what app we should build. Random pictures of Shiba Inu, cats, or birds. That's a random.
Yeah.
I refuse. No, I'm just kidding. Whoa.
I don't know, that kind of weird stuff. You know, the Ghibli one's safe.
I know, that's why I clicked on that one. I was like, this is fine.
Should we be building along?
So you will be building along. Right now we're just finding stuff.
Okay.
And the story part you won't be building along. But I haven't created a React app. I haven't done any of that. So all of that we'll do together.
Okay. Yeah, let's do the Ghibli.
You want to do this one?
Sounds adorable.
Okay. Let's do the Ghibli cats. Wow, there's so many of them. Okay, let's figure out how to use this API.
That's adorable.
Endpoints, films, people, locations, species, or vehicles. Which one do we want?
Films.
Solid choice. Dope, it's just films. Cool, let's hop into Postman and try this guy out. Cool, so it's an array of objects. Man, good choice. Good choice of API. I was looking last night, I spent like 5 minutes looking at public APIs and I got so bored of it. I was like, we'll do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna find one right now because so many of them are awful. Cool, okay, so we'll, what do we want to show on our page out of this? So here, wait, sorry, that's really small for you guys.
Is there like
So we have,
movie posters or is it just
I don't think there's a poster.
What are we building?
We're building an app.
An app that does a thing. Maybe
That
we
does
should
a thing.
decide what thing it does, and that'll help us figure out what data is relevant.
No, there is no picture.
Aww.
That's fine.
There
Do
we
the
go.
characters then. Or what? People.
People. So for each, so we don't want to display films, we want to display people.
No, I don't know.
People for films. You just really want pictures. Now that there's not pictures, why are we even building anything? Cool. Okay. Also, so what this is doing is people. I love that it doesn't even give us people by the movie that we're in. It's just all the people. But it's another call to that API just with people instead of films now. That's what all these links are. So if we go to people, we see all of this stuff. Oh, this one says like what film they were in though.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. But here's the fun part about this is if we want to say what film they were in, we have to do a fetch request for every single one we render. Because we have to go look, find the film, look, find the film, render it, look, find the film, render it.
Would that be something that would be productive?
Which is a lot of
work.
it's a lot of things to show.
Yeah.
Maybe we could have it where If you click on it, then it does a fetch request to that film and takes you to a page with information about that film. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Sounds like an app that we could build. Cool. Okay, so here's this beautiful, beautiful Waffle IO. There's a bunch of versions of these. I prefer Waffle IO because it connects straight to GitHub, and so I'm right now using the build burn breakout repo. And then when I add an issue, it will show up on my GitHub. It's really cool. I like it.
Right down the street.
What?
Is it Waffle IO?
I have-
Office over at CA Technologies.
They definitely might be. I don't know.
Oh, we went to the meetup there.
Oh, cool. Cool. So stories. So what do I want my user to be able to do? I want them to be able to load my page, and do I just want a list of characters to pop up when the page loads? Is that? I'm just gonna like guess what we're doing, and then correct me if you think there's a better idea. So page loads with character info. Boom. And then I'm gonna do another one that so I'm also writing these stories weirdly. So there's a better way to write them. You're supposed to write them like when the user does this, this happens, and that's the storyline. It's supposed to be when the user does this, this happens. So I should have wrote like when the user like loads the page, character info pops up. So when the user clicks on or let's make it smaller. The user can click on a character. The user can see info. Yeah, we'll keep it simple with those three. So first, we want the page to load with character info. Second, we want the user to be able to click on a character. Third, we want the user to be able, when they click on a character, movie about that, or information about the movie that the character was in shows up. Cool. So let's build a React app. So everyone, create React app. Oh, that's a word. Is that how you spell it?
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Too much. Okay. So now we're going to go into our app.js, and I'm just going to get rid of the header because I don't need any of that stuff in the app I'm about to create. I'm going to get rid of the logo because I don't need that. And then I'm going to start figuring out how to build my app. So what components do you think I will need? Where did it go? One day it will be done.
So yeah, we just need a page to load first of all.
We just need a page to
with
load,
characters.
but with character info. So do we want our page to load in our app.js? Do we want our character info in here, or do we want a component that holds our character info?
Probably a component. 'Cause nothing really lives in the app.js except like the state, right? Everything just runs to it.
Yes. There shouldn't be any just like JSX in here. It should be components that you're loading. Cool. So what I would think we would do is we'd create a bunch of cards that hold information about each character, and a card will load for every character that we get from our API. So let's make a card component. What kind of component do I want to make this? Do I want it to be functional or a class? People other than Reed can answer. That is allowed.
Class.
Why do I want it to be a class?
So you want to be able to set state.
In my card component?
No, in the app.js.
Yeah, app.js is a class. But what do I want to make my card component? So we're not setting any state in my card. My card is just I'm going to render a bunch of these.
Then a functional.
Yeah, I want it to be a functional component. Because all this component is doing is just giving me a chunk of JSX back. That's it. And since we're using stories, a story isn't complete until it's styled as well. So I'm going to implement Bootstrap right now so that when a card is created, it looks pretty. It looks like a card. Export defaults card and return. Cool, so let's go look at Bootstrap. They don't have a card? What?
I think it's images.
No.
That might be.
This is super weird. They might not have a card. So we're actually going to use semantic UI. Because they have cards. Cool. Since we don't have pictures, we're just going to use a little card that looks like this. That's just going to have some information on it. Because this database doesn't have pictures because it sucks. Okay, let's figure out how to get semantic UI working in our project, though. What? That is not what I wanted. Cool. Wait. Okay, I think we'll this one. Okay, so yarn add semantic dash UI dash dash dev. I will show it to you closer up in a second and give you time to type it out.
We run that in our command line.
Yep. Yeah, let me get it bigger so you can see it. It's right there.
You don't need that nice at the beginning, do you?
No, that's in your terminal. That's not good. That's not what we wanted. That's so many warnings. Okay, this might not work. Let's try it out though. So let's try this really fast. Let me go in my index.js. And in here we'll say import card. Ooh, right? Yeah, it is a capitalized card, so we get to change the name of the component. So this is called card. So I'm gonna rename this character card. Cool. And then this from semantic. What's up?
Was it not installing because you didn't have Gold installed?
It installed. It just gave me a lot of warnings. Yes, it is gold problems though. But it did install, so we're just gonna try and load a card and see what happens. Is my plan right now. What? Okay. This part is me just seeing if it installed more than it is. You need to code along. Description does not exist. Description equals. Hey. And then this part you do need to do, import character card from components / character. Woohoo, gotta rename that too. Once I see if this works, I will like take a second and talk more through what we just did. Yep, failed to compile. That is not shocking. Can't resolve semantic UI CSS, semantic min CSS in our index.js. Cool, love it. I might just throw the CDN in. Oh, probably because I didn't do that. Cool, so if you don't have yarn, just use npm. Just npm I semantic UI react. This guy. Semantic UI's documentation is really frustrating with getting started. I haven't used it in a while, but I remember the last time I used it, I was very frustrated because I was like, wait, how do you install it properly? And so that's why we get this fun time of figuring out how to install it properly together. Oh, still failed to compile. Oh. That is possibly why. No. Which falls out. Okay, we're gonna use a CDN. It's gonna be a lot simpler. So what you wanna do is go to Semantic UI site, go into their usage tab, and copy this link. And you just get to throw this guy in your index.html file, which is in your public folder.
Layouts or
Is it in layouts or theme?
The usage tag.
Usage is under getting started. Make sure you're in React Semantic UI.
Okay.
Semantic UI does have a non-React version.
I didn't do the
I just installed the non.
Possibly. Yeah, no, it actually definitely will. So the way that we import this card in, we're saying import card from Semantic UI React. That no matter which way you do this, even if you're trying to just say like, hey, import it from Semantic UI, it's not going to work because the way you're able to import things with the React version of Semantic UI is not possible with the non-React version. Which is why I highly recommend using, if you prefer Bootstrap or whatever you prefer, use the React version of whatever CSS framework you prefer. Because then you can just say, import this from this, and then you get to use this.
Okay, so we put the little link thingy on top of the HTML file.
So yeah, go into your public folder, go into your docs.html, and throw that link right there. I don't know if you saw, but I switched over for a second, and we have just a gorgeous card component. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you have a card component, or if you have when you have your CDN in your index.html.
Oops. Apparently, indented words on HTML.
Is yours not working, Reed?
No. What's the code of your app.js?
Map.js? Oh, did you load your character card? Yeah, I almost forgot that one earlier, which is why I was so quick to think of it.
I just got
Is it still not working? Who's having problems with theirs? Everyone? Cool.
Can I see what goes in the character
Nice.
card thing?
Yeah, I have character card up right now. I definitely did. So the thing that, I'll open up my app and my character card so you can copy both.
Oh,
Open to the side. Cool. So if you have your CDN in your index.html, this is the other code that you should have. You want to import card from Semantic UI React, put a card in here with some card content, and then you export your character card. In our app.js, we import our character card, and we render our character card.
sorry, I'm a little slow here.
No, I went through that super fast, so you do not have to worry about it at all. But this is an excellent time to talk about why we style as we go. Because if we had just tried to make our app work and then thought about like, oh, we'll implement like a framework or styling later, imagine how much a pain this would be if we had already had content inside of our card. So if you want, specifically if you want to use CSS frameworks, like one of your first steps is to implement your CSS framework. Because having to reverse engineer whatever card you made to fit into the layout they give you for a card is not the most fun thing in the world. And it takes a while. But when we just have it in here and we fill it with the content that we have, it's a lot easier. Cool.
Oh, no.
Do. Charity, is yours not working?
I can figure it out. I mean, I just left it. You know what? I closed it here, and it looks like it's not, okay, let's try this. No.
Ooh, why do 2 extras? Actually, 1. And card is
Oh.
you never imported card.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why it says card is not defined.
Okay.
Do you want to read that import? You just import card from
Okay.
semantic UI React.
We're super at something.
That's usually why it breaks. But that's okay.
Because
I forget things all the time. Like I forgot to go slowly when I was implementing semantic UI just now into our app. It happens. Yeah, yours might break because you installed that. That looks good.
did I not?
Like the song.
It's saying,
Go to it. See.
so I didn't have my constraints on it, maybe because I didn't know what it was.
Oh, so you guys can put card.
Oh.
I always forgot when that happens. It's so hard whenever like you change anything in code to actually get.
I wonder if
It,
an
if you go back, I bet you change that character cards. Go your FPS. You never import a character card, but use a character card. And if it doesn't work, if the styling doesn't work, I'm gonna guess you to install semantic UI React.
Oh, it didn't change the export default. I have to. Let's change this. That's not what's wrong.
Oh, the
No,
default
you're on
card.
you're on the app, right?
Oh.
That needs to be
Oh,
on.
that was, okay, I thought we were in a different one.
Just fancy.
your hand up?
Okay, it's okay. I can
This is all here, so just do that.
Okay, I think-
Closing slash online tab.
I think maybe that
That's,
doesn't solve
the other
it.
ones are all just open.
We're in the right place.
Yeah, results needs to die React.
But, but
Solid.
this one up here
Okay.
doesn't have a closing one at the end like these do.
Oh.
okay.
That's what we're saying. Let's hear it.
You wanna see?
I'm
Oh,
Green cards?
kind of cool. And I'm just getting it to like
Oh, because you know.
target
Right, I
like
really-
It probably doesn't.
I don't know if you said you
Still
did,
can't find it though.
just like
That's
setting the actual
solid.
class.
Sometimes when this happens, all you have to
I think you're doing great, coach, just keep on.
Yeah,
So
I'll
see,
probably get
yeah.
a little after lunch or something. Figure it out.
How you doing?
Good brain.
Still okay.
Oh, we're sharing it?
Can't really React. Did you
Going
install?
like this or doing it?
I'm wondering if
Let me stop this recording really fast, and then I'll keep
I
helping.
wonder if something went wrong